Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hold on, man. You here with the minister,
And the minister's wife.
man, and we coming back at you with another conversation, man. And feeling all right this morning.
A little bit.
Oh, okay.
A little bit. I can be feeling better, but all praises is not worse.
Okay, yeah, man. And we do want to give the honor and the glory to the Most High God, for allowing us another day, man.
Yep.
And we do so in the name of His Son, who we call Jesus Christ. But man, we do have another conversation for you. Talking about
I didn't do it.
uh,
Mm-mm.
accountability.
Mm-mm.
It ain't my fault. I didn't do it.
Leave me out of it.
I got, didn't nobody put no gun to your head and make you get with that man you with. Did nobody put no gun to your head and make you get with that woman you got. You know what I'm saying?
And the kid.
And the kids, you knew that man was abusive, or you knew he was a whoremonger or whatever, a player when you got with him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you knew something was wrong with that woman before you got with her. So now don't try to blame nobody else.
But I
Right.
mean, we're talking about accountability, and it stems from more than just the adults, the kids too.
Yeah, your kids need to be
But you know
accountable.
why the kids don't have accountability? Like you just said, the adults don't have it.
They do not have it at all. Right? You blame everybody. What? Except for yourself.
Except for yourself.
You blame stuff on everybody.
We know some people like that ain't nothing ever their fault.
Ain't nothing they fault.
We can see you do the deed and I ain't do it.
It ain't my fault.
Or I did it, but if they wouldn't have or she wouldn't have.
There's always something. You know what I'm saying? You got to be accountable. First of all, accountability is it's just being responsible. You know what I'm saying? Basically, that's all. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Being responsible for your actions. And I know a lot of y'all done heard this. Yes, and I know a lot of y'all done heard this before. To be responsible or be accountable for your own action. You done heard it before. You need to keep hearing it though, because you hear it and you still won't do it. You hear it and you still won't do it. Oh, that's my bad. You know what I'm saying? I should have went head on and took care of that. Or just take the responsibility. You know it's your fault. Just take that responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's your fault. Your fault you unhappy. You know what I'm saying?
It's so like you mentioned, it's your fault that you with that female and you. This is one that I just thought of. You have somebody that enters into your relationship. Let's say you have a husband and a wife, and the husband, whatever, he steps outside the marriage. That other woman knows that you're married, right? Mm-hmm. What do they say? Well, if you would have been doing what you did at home, no, the accountability falls on you. You know that was a married person. You shouldn't have bothered them. Well, he came on to me. Okay, but see, you're not taking accountability for your actions.
Mm-hmm.
You still knew that was a married man. You should have said, no, I don't deal with married people. I'm not going to be the home wrecker, but they have that lack of accountability.
So you think that she should take the accountability of the man?
I'm saying both of them have a duty of accountability.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But I just know I've heard women say, if you would have did this at home, then he wouldn't have, and I wouldn't have had to, or he came on to me. So
Yeah, but you still knew he was married, though.
Yeah, you don't have that accountability.
Yeah. Then you 9 times out of 10, then you end up with the worst end of the stick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you still want to blame somebody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was your fault. You knew that man was married. Like she said, you could have said no, or whoever going through that situation, right? Um,
And not just putting it all on the female, because sometimes you have females that come on to the man,
mm-hmm.
and same thing. You know that man is
He said,
married.
well, yeah,
He can say no.
no,
You know, I have a wife at home, but I was just using that for an example. How the accountability is never
yeah.
within that person.
And
Within
but you got some men be like, I was dead wrong. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
did it. I knew what I was doing. And you know another thing, you know, some people like to say it was a mistake. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm gonna be for real with this right here. Don't tell me, brothers, that you had sex, you stepped outside of your marriage and had sex. You had sex with another woman, and then you turn around and say you made a mistake, but you did it like 3 or 4 or 5 times.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? No, it's not a mistake. The first time wasn't no mistake. You know, you had like you tripped up and fell in the coochie, right? That ain't happened,
Okay.
right? You ain't just trip up and fall in and say, oops. Y'all had time. Y'all even sat down and talked about this. This was doggone. Basically, it was planned.
Premeditated.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Come
Yeah.
on, man. Ain't no mistake.
So the accountability is not I made a mistake. You can say I regret I did it. You know,
man, I shouldn't have never
I
did
shouldn't have
that.
never did it.
You know,
But to say it was a
but to
mistake.
say it was a mistake and saying you shouldn't have never did it is not saying it's a mistake. That ain't the same thing.
Mm-mm.
All right. You knew what you were about to get into. Nah, it was a mistake. No, it's a mistake because you got caught, bro. That's what a lot. Instead of just saying, "Man, I knew what I was doing. It wasn't no mistake." I could have said, "No, that's my fault." Right?
Yep.
I could have just walked away from it. That ain't what you're saying, though. Now, you start making excuses, like you said. A woman said, "Well, if you was doing what you was supposed to be doing," the man started saying the same thing.
Same
Well, if you
thing.
was doing what you supposed to do, hey, man, that ain't no excuse.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta take control. Nigga, ask her. If you want some top, ask her for it. You know what I'm saying? She ain't gonna say no.
But a lot of times the unaccountability excuses, that's what we're gonna call it. The unaccountability excuses comes from you really don't have nothing else to put on that person that you just wrong.
You just wrong. That's all you gotta do.
You know, you don't have that, so you start making up stuff. Oh, well, you let the dishes sit in the sink 2 days.
Yeah.
And
ain't that just an example of something being silly?
Mm-hmm.
You come up with silly excuses.
Yeah. Well, I asked you to wash my shoes, and she just offered to buy me a shoe cleaning kit.
Yeah, all kind of foolishness.
All kinds of stuff. Just
You know, and we got to know this, bro. You know, if you don't take accountability and realize you were wrong, we got to answer to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't take the accountability and realize, or the responsibility, same thing, realize, right, that you was wrong, you know, you're going to have to give an account for that.
No, God is really gonna take into account.
Oh, yeah. You know, you got to answer to somebody. We all do. Right? Whether you believe it or not, and I always say this, whether you believe or not, you're gonna answer.
You still gonna have to answer.
You still gonna have to answer. So it really don't make no difference. You know, you're gonna have to answer. Man, stop making excuses, man. Stop saying sleeping around with these other women. And women say the same thing. I made a mistake. No, you knew exactly what you were doing. You went and met that dude at the park and let him hit you in the backseat of the car. You got a whole husband at home. You know what I'm saying? You knew what you were doing. Just be responsible. That's what I did. You know, and don't make excuses of why you did it. You did it because that's what you wanted.
You wanted to do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There ain't no excuses. In the scriptures, you ain't got no excuses.
Man, it's without excuse.
You ain't got no excuses. And please, I already said it, but I'm gonna say it again. Please stop saying it was a mistake. No, it wasn't, brother. No, it wasn't, sister.
And what else? I was gonna say like the kids, parents, we got to stop not making our kids be accountable.
Yeah.
So you remember a long time ago, we was at a church. I'm not gonna call the name, and the pastor used this for an example about his son wasn't getting the homework done. And the teacher was like, okay, your son ain't doing his homework. You know, what's going on? And he was like, well, we was at church all night. That's why he ain't do it. He said he wrote the teacher a letter and was like, we was at church all night. So that's why he didn't do his homework. But you kind of got to do your homework.
You got to do your homework.
What I'm saying?
Yeah.
God says you're supposed to do things decent and in order, right? And I know that you may have been the pastor and you have your family with you, but your child still has to do his homework.
Do his homework.
So you gave him an excuse to not be accountable for his homework not being done.
Because him being at church,
he could have did his homework at church.
Yeah, he could have did, because it ain't like he was involved in nothing. You know what I'm saying? So he could have did his homework.
Yeah.
And before y'all even got started, he could have did his homework.
Did the homework. Yeah.
Right? So there's no excuse. And that will, you know, make a child not be responsible. You know, saying, no, you was here, that's why you ain't do it. Excuse. That ain't no excuse. It's not like he played the drums or nothing.
And we know for a fact this person didn't do nothing.
And if he did, if she did play the drum or whatever, that still ain't no excuse.
You didn't play it the whole service.
Yeah, that's no excuse. So, that should have been done before y'all even got to the church. And you knew you was going. You know, so yeah, make your kids also be accountable.
You got to start making.
You got to start making them be accountable, right? They can't making excuses about everything. You know, shoot, we got one. You try to pull that stuff on us, but we ain't having it. Ain't nobody's fault but yours. You know, and a lot of y'all parents just go along with it.
Yeah, you right, baby.
Yeah, no, that joke is not right. You wrong. Stop making excuses for your kids. Teach them jokers responsibility or accountability or whatever.
Both. You know, it's they fall in the same category.
Yeah, same thing. Right? They try to come with all kind of stuff. We'll be like, no, but you know what you got to do.
You know what you supposed to do.
You know what you supposed to do. You've been given the assignment. So you know what you're supposed to do. Why it's not done. Now, don't go to point fingers at Bobby Joe and little Ray them. You know what I'm saying? No, it's your fault because you knew what you were supposed to be doing.
I know somebody hit this and say, well, what if this? Now, we do know that there are certain situations that can actually stop you from doing so. We're not talking about that.
We're talking about
We're talking about you clearly could have done it or not done it, and you are holding your kids' hands through this, and they need to be accountable. You need to make them be accountable.
You need to make him or her be accountable.
We're not talking about, for example, it's the schoolwork don't get done, but that's because there's a glitch in the Wi-Fi system or the whole school shuts down, so nobody gets to do their work. That's one thing. But we're talking about you just didn't do the work because you didn't do it. You like, oh, I was at church all that.
I was at church all that. No. You still could be at that work. You know. So really, you can't. That's like covering up for them. You got to make them accountable.
Yep.
You know, because he knew he needed homework before y'all got to the church. He knew he had to do his homework. He could have been like, let me. You could have told him do that homework before we get to the church.
Like me, I brought book bags with because I know my kids are not participating. We've had things going on where we had to be at church at night, and I'd be like, well, bring it with you. We're going to get this done while we at church. Because even though you're with me, you're not actively participating.
Yeah, you're not up there. Before you get there, because stuff don't start as soon as you get out of school at church. You got like a 2-hour window.
Maybe 3.
To get it done. You understand? You know, but yeah, people do make Hey, a lot of parents cover up a lot of stuff for real.
And then we
Right.
watched a movie where um the guy, I think we talked about this before, the guy went and shot somebody else's son. Now, according to the movie, and this happens in real life, I'm just referencing the movie that we looked at. But the guy went and shot somebody's son and killed him. And the mama was like, y'all didn't have to kill my son. But the mother of the son who killed the guy was like, well, maybe he shouldn't have been talking about my, wasn't even there.
Yeah.
She wasn't even there. But her excuse was, y'all was picking on my son. That's why he shot
we
him.
can use that for a real life situation happened years ago. And these boys broke into dude's house and he murdered them all. And everybody on Facebook done put wings on him instead of saying they talking about he shouldn't have did it.
Killed them.
Instead of because they was trying to kill, they was going in there. Went in there to kill whatever move.
They shot outside before they came in the house.
Yeah, but they got to him. They got to him. He got to them first.
Or they got to him.
So now you put wings on them. Instead of they got to be accountable for their death, man.
He didn't hurt nobody. Well, yes, he was trying to hurt somebody.
You going in there to do something to that man. You got guns. You going at somebody with a gun. What are your intentions? That man can't be like, well, maybe they ain't gonna. No, that man reacted.
Yeah.
So
you as a parent need to just accept accountability.
Accept it.
That your son was going to do something.
Yeah, and you need to think about why were they breaking in somebody's house anyway?
Yeah.
You understand? So it's just a lot of situations that now you saying he didn't have to kill him, but then where did they have to kill him? What you would have been saying?
The same thing. That it would have been reversed.
No, they probably would have. They probably would have. They would have never known. They would have never known. That's what would have happened.
Probably, or if it would have came out, it would have reversed it. Where he had to protect himself. Yeah. You in this man's house.
They talking about they had to protect themselves from the owner of the house.
That's what I'm saying. It would have been reversed.
In the world, you in that man's house. So yeah,
that is true.
Parents need to take responsibility for that situation. First of all, you need to be training your kids another way instead of letting them do what they want to do. When you let them do what they want to do, then you giving them no responsibility.
And you mamas, and maybe some of you daddies, but I know it's mostly the mamas. You mamas whose son get in trouble, and you bailing them out every single time because they call you and say, "Mom, it wasn't my fault," and you be like, "I know, baby," and you go spend your savings. Some of you have houses that you putting up, you know what I'm saying? You use your house as collateral to get your kids out, and you constantly doing it. You constantly do. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all to open y'all freaking eyes. You can't be that stupid, and you can't be that blind. Like every time this person gets locked up, you bailing them out. It's not his fault. Damn time, it's not his fault. Yeah, it's his fault, Mama.
It's his fault, Mama. He keep doing it.
He keeps doing it, and you keep falling for the same thing. No, you got to let him sit in jail.
Even if it ain't the same thing he went for last time, it's something different. The bottom line is he getting in trouble.
You bad.
Yeah.
And you need to accept accountability that your son is bad, and then you need to let him accept accountability by staying in there. Stay.
Yeah, you run down there, you get him out. Or whatever, and then he right back in now. You know, like we just had the situation where we had to get up late at night and go somewhere, and the mama basically taking up for the son, right? Why in the world is you got a woman, you coming in at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you have no job? Why is you? But your excuse for your son is
he ain't have a ride.
He don't have a ride. That's why he had to wait 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
But how did he get there?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Well, how did he get there?
He had a ride to get there.
He had a ride to get there, but he couldn't get back. You know what I'm saying? Listen, buses run all night. This the kind of stuff we talking about. right? It may sound irrelevant to some of y'all, but it is what it is. Hey, little bitty things grow to be what? Big problems.
things.
Don't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing petty to me. I'm gonna let you know that now. Nothing is petty to me. When people be talking about, oh, that's petty. No, it ain't, because all that petty stuff always grow to be a big problem. Right? So we gotta be accountable. I had to be accountable for my kids. I had to be accountable for my house. Right? But I'm gonna teach them what to be accountable for your junk. Don't blame your friends. Don't blame your teacher. Don't blame this person, that person. You can't nobody you can blame.
But yourself.
We had another situation. Listen, we got situations to talk about. We had another situation. Oh, why a particular somebody felt like they didn't do good at school. They blamed the darn parents.
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
Real life situations. Instead of taking, you already been told what you better do when you in school, but then you didn't do it, so you blame somebody. You didn't take accountability.
You started goofing off.
Yeah, you started goofing off. That's a good example.
And blame the parent, but the parent didn't put you in the class. The school did, because you've been smart your whole life.
Your whole life.
You've been testing good your whole life. Got put in the smart classes, in the talented and gifted classes, and you get to high school and start goofing off, and that's not your fault.
Nah, it ain't your fault. It's somebody else's fault. No, take that responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So it's simple.
Yeah. But the mama didn't say, yeah, you right, I should have. No, the mom was like, no, you goofed off. Yeah. This is your fault, and you gonna deal with it.
You gonna deal with it. Mm-hmm. And shoot, that man of that house wasn't gonna let that happen anyway. Wasn't gonna let that happen, because you've been taught better.
And you knew better.
Mm-hmm. So just learn to take responsibility, man. I bet you'll be better if you say, I was wrong, I ain't gonna do that no more. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee you things will be a little better. You know, because if you don't take responsibility, now all that turns into what? Now it's basically like you're gonna be one of them people that always point fingers at other people.
And somebody else.
And that's what I'm saying. You're gonna always go ahead.
I was gonna use my job for example. I'm not gonna say what I do, but you know, there is an issue with stuff being damaged. And I got called into the office one day, and I'm stuck like a deer in headlights, because they're asking me, you know, well, what happened? You know, we seen that you had this particular item last, but I didn't have it last. Somebody came and got it before me. I had proof of that, but the person who came in and snatched it from under me took it and damaged it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was assigned to me. Mm-hmm. The good thing is the person that was there saw that the other person took it, and then I had record that I took something else. And so, but that person came back with that particular item, left it, didn't say nothing. Didn't say I damaged it, didn't nothing, and it fell on me.
Just left it for somebody else to take the blame.
And they was like, well, you was assigned that particular, and I was like, I know I was assigned to it, but I didn't have it. So, of course, that right there, people need to be accountable.
Okay, so like that's just like believers. Believers don't want to be accountable for nothing. You know, people, the whole thing about this talk, this talk right here, is to be accountable for what you do. Because the Most High, whether you believe it or not, if you don't straighten your junk out, He gonna hold you accountable anyway. Whether it be good or bad. And I'm gonna read that verse later on. That's gonna be the closing verse. I'm just gonna close with a verse. But not right now. So you got anything else?
No, I always say no and then keep talking.
Yeah, but we got yeah. But it's a lot of situations that we can talk about with people not being accountable though. You know, I mean, a lot of because don't nobody want to see their kids or nothing hurt or nothing like that. But if that joker out there acting a fool and doing dumb stuff, you can't be like, you know, we like to say stuff like, oh, they just young.
I'm gonna tell
you know what? We all did stuff when we was young, right?
Yeah.
But by me admitting that, guess what I'm doing?
Taking accountability.
Taking accountability. You understand what I'm saying? I'm
gonna share this. Okay, so we have an adult son. So right after he graduated from high school, he did something very, very stupid. Very stupid. I'm gonna tell you. I don't know what this child was thinking, but he decides to break into an empty house in the neighborhood. And people in this neighborhood, we work hard for our houses. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you the stories. We done had to get some people out of this neighborhood, but we worked hard to get these houses and keep them up and have a nice neighborhood for ourselves. And my child decided that he was going to break into an empty house. And one of the neighbors saw it and called the police. The police came and he knocked on the door and he was like, I really don't want to take your child to jail. This is what he said to me. He said, I can tell that this is out of his character. Like, I don't know what possessed him to do it. He said some friends told him to do it. And, you know, he was like, I'm going ahead and do it. But the friends left. This is the story that I got. You know what I told the police officer? They take him to jail. Because me being a mom, you know, if some friends was involved and said, let's do this, you already know you ain't supposed to follow the crowd.
That ain't what you supposed to follow.
You already been given instructions. You grew up in this thing. So you know better. You know the standard of living for this house. And I told him, I said, take him to jail. I said, take him to jail. And the police officer looked at me. He was like, okay. Yeah. Because I guess he thought I was going to be that mama that was like, no, he didn't mean to do it. It was the friend's fault. It wasn't the friend's fault. He chose to do it.
First of all, it wasn't even no friends out there.
Yeah. You the one that got caught.
And then you lied. And so, well, why would you, if you been taught, well, don't follow them dudes that tell you to do stuff like that. First of all, they not your friends.
They not your friends. So he learned the lesson in accountability that day. I said, take him. Now, they didn't keep him. They released him the next day. We were there. But, and of course, I'm a mama, so I'm not going to lie. Yes, I called the jail that night to make sure he was okay. And, you know, and the guy at the jail was like, why is he here? He's on the phone with me like, why is your son here? You know, he did. We had this conversation. I said, because he chose to do something stupid. And he's going to learn a lesson from this. So, yeah, and the accountability. He came out, he was like, I don't ever want to do that again.
Yeah, but the mofo still nuts. But it's all good, though.
But, yeah.
Nah, it ain't all good. It's kind of bad, you know. A lot of us, like, you know, I'm going to say, the way we teach our kids, the way I teach my kids, I wasn't taught that way. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying the way that. But you think I'm blaming them?
No.
Because regardless, I still knew right from wrong. They taught me right from wrong.
Yeah.
That was it.
You just chose to make the wrong decision.
I just chose to make the wrong decision. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of, you know, the way they taught, they still taught me right from wrong. Right? So, I mean, it is what it is, man. And I hope somebody get something out of this conversation, man. That's why we do it. I don't care if 2 people here. I don't care if one person here. You know what I'm saying? As long as somebody hear it and you get something out of it, that's all that matters, man.
That's how we share our stories.
I don't care about thousands. I don't care about millions. Hey, if if I got three of y'all to hear it and you got somebody else, man, that's a blessing unto me. Right? So I'm just gonna read this scripture, man, out of 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 10. And it read, why? Because we all gonna stand before the Most High, whether you believe or not. What the scripture say? Every knee gonna bow and every tongue shall confess. So whether you believe it or not, right? Let me read this. 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 10. It said, "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that he have done, whether it be good or bad," right? So one verse says you're gonna be held accountable, whether it be good or bad. Guess what? You gonna be held accountable. So you want to be what word can I use? You want to be recognized for the good you do.
Yeah. And
Okay.
not get in trouble for the bad.
And not okay. And if you ain't got anything else, I'm gonna say what?
Shalom.
Shalom.
Happy Sabbath.